Hi, I'm Jen. Welcome to my extraordinary life, and thank you for joining me for my make-believe cooking show. Today I'm going to make a recipe that I found online from Recipes Fiber. I'll put the recipe in the comments or the description, but this just sounded so yummy, and we have a potluck coming up in my Bible study tomorrow, and so I thought, well, this would be perfect time to make this. Here are the things you're going to need for the recipe. It calls for 2.5 cups of chicken. I like a lot of chicken in my soup, so I just bought a 3-pound bag of the boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You can use thighs if you want. I'm going to use the whole 3 pounds. And then it calls for some green chili enchilada sauce, and it calls for 28 ounces, and that is how much is in this large can, so that's perfect. Chicken broth, it says 24 ounces. These cans are 14.5 ounces each, so we're gonna actually have 25 ounces of chicken broth, but that's not a big deal. You're also going to need a cup of half and half or heavy whipping cream, Philly cream cheese, Monterey Jack cheese. I'm gonna shred this up. I could not find it already shredded. Some Salsa verde, the green salsa, and it calls for 4 ounces of this. These bottles are 7.5 ounces, so I'm gonna use about a bottle. And then I have chopped up some green onions here, and I'm gonna toss those in there. Some cilantro and some tortilla strips that I am going to use for garnish as well. So we're gonna get started. My chicken is already or is still frozen, and so I'm gonna put it in. The beauty of using a crock pot is that you can do that. I like to either use a crock pot liner or spray my crock pot with Pam for easier cleanup. And I don't want to use a liner because I'm taking this with me to a potluck tomorrow, and I feel like scooping it out is easier without the liner, like you can get to the last drop, and this is going to be good. So we're going to just spray it. And then I'm going to put my chicken in the crock pot, already frozen, or still frozen, I should say, not already frozen, still frozen. This will cook all day, and then the chicken will actually pull out right before I put the rest of the ingredients in and shred it. And if you've seen my other videos before on how to shred it, we're actually going to do that in the stand mixer, and it makes it super duper easy. All right, so the things you're going to dump in are your enchilada sauce, and this is what your chicken is going to cook in all day. So if you don't like spicy, this might not be the recipe for you. I'm not a huge fan of spicy, but I can do some heat. So I put my 2 cans of chicken broth in it. And then I'm gonna go ahead, because I want these to cook in it, I'm gonna toss those green onions that I already chopped up in there. And that is all I'm going to put in there. I'm gonna pop the lid on it. I'm gonna put this on, you can do 6 to 8 hours on low or 3 or 4 hours on high, and then we'll pull it out before we add the rest of the ingredients and shred the chicken. So, okay, we are back. Now, before I add the rest of the ingredients, I'm gonna pull that chicken out and shred it, and then we'll show you what happens from there. But I wanted to show you how we shred the chicken. So easy. This little trick I learned, absolutely love it. You need to make sure the chicken is fully cooked, and it is. I've already checked it to make sure that it is cooked all the way through. So you just put it in and get to shredding. And I started on slow because I don't want the chicken to fly everywhere. And then I get a little daring and move it up. But when it starts jumping out at me, then I turn it back down. But look how nicely that shreds the chicken up. I mean, that's just easy peasy. All right, so that's pretty good. It's starting to jump out everywhere. All right, so we're gonna take this chicken, very warm, and I'm going to just dump it all back in the crock pot. I don't think you guys can see that, so let me move you over a little bit. There we go. So I've dumped all that back in the crock pot. So we have heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add that in there. It says salt and pepper to taste, but I am going to use my favorite Nature's Seasons. And I'm just going to put about a teaspoon to start. Add, remember I told you, half a jar of this salsa verde, the green salsa. And then we've got our shredded Monterey Jack cheese. Add that. Now, it calls for 2 cups. I like cheese a lot, so I think I actually shredded about 2.5 cups of cheese. Stir all that around, and then we will add in, lastly, our softened cream cheese, which is around here somewhere. Here it is. I'm just gonna kind of break it up as I put it in there. It's so soft because I've left it to sit out and soften. You don't have to break it up, but it's gonna just kind of help it mix in there a little bit better. Let that finish cooking. And as that cooks, all that cheese will melt. The cream cheese and the regular cheese will melt, and we will leave that in there to cook for another half hour. I'll check it and taste it and make sure that it's good to taste, and then we will serve this with a garnish of the tortilla strips, sour cream, the salsa verde, green onions, and cilantro.